Despite being awarded a Pulitzer Prize for fiction, Toni Morrison's 1987 novel Beloved has been banned by school districts across the country as recently as 2007. Critics generally contend that its violent depiction of slavery is too graphic for high school students. This excerpt depicts the meeting of two young women, one white and one black, and both on the run in rural Kentucky in 1856. "You about the scariest looking something I ever seen. What are you doing back up in there?" Down in the grass, like the snake she believed she was, Sethi opened her mouth, and instead of fangs and a split tongue, out shot the truth. "Running," Sethi told her. It was the first word she'd spoken all day. "Them the feet you running on? My, Jesus, my." She squatted down and stared at Sethi's feet. "You got anything on you, gal, pass for food?" "No." Sethi tried to shift to a sitting position, but she couldn't. "I like to die. I'm so hungry." The girl moved her eyes slowly, examining the greenery around her. "I thought there'd be huckleberries. Look like it. That's why I come up in here. Didn't expect to find no slave woman. If there was any, birds would have eaten them. You like huckleberries?" "I'm having a baby, miss." Amy looked at her. "That mean you don't have no appetite? Well, I got to eat me something." Combing her hair with her fingers, she carefully surveyed the landscape once more. Sethi's heart stood up, too, at the thought of being left alone. "Where are you on your way to, miss?" She turned and looked at Sethi with freshly lit eyes. "Boston. Get me some velvet. It's a store there called Wilson. I seen the pictures of it. They have the prettiest velvet. They don't believe I'm going to get it, but I am." Sethi nodded. "Your ma'am know you on the lookout for velvet?" The girl shook her head out of her face. "My mama worked for these here people to pay for her passage. But then she had me, and since she died right after, well, they said I had to work for 'em to pay it off. I did, but now I get me some velvet." They didn't look at each other directly, not straight into the eyes anyway. Yet they slipped effortlessly into yard chat about nothing in particular, except one of them lay on the ground. "Boston," said Sethi. "Is that far?" "Ooh, yeah, 100 miles, maybe more." "Must be velvet closer by." "Not like in Boston. Boston got the best. Be so pretty on me. You ever touch it?" "No, miss. I never touch no velvet." Sethi didn't know if it was the voice, or Boston, or velvet, but while the white girl talked, the baby slept. "Ever see any?" she asked Sethi. "I bet you never see any." "If I did, I didn't know it. What's it like, velvet?" Amy dragged her eyes over Sethi's face as though she would never give out so confidential a piece of information as that to a perfect stranger. "What they call you?" she asked. However far she was from her owners, there was no point in giving her real name out to the first white person she saw. "Lou," said Sethi. "They call me Lou." "Well, Lou, velvet is like the world was just born. Clean and new and so smooth. The velvet I seen was brown, but in Boston they got all colors. Carmine. That means red, but when you talk about velvet, you got to say carmine." She raised her eyes to the sky, and then, as though she had wasted enough time away from Boston, she moved off, saying, "I gotta go." Picking her way through the brush, she hollered back to Sethi, "What you gonna do? Just lay there and fold?"